What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the MOC Spotlight, where we take apart what you build. Today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at another two pretty cool MOCs that were posted to the message boards this past month. Technically three. We have Old Timey, Lewa, and Pohatu, created and posted by Blackboltjohnson. And we also have Turaga Takanuva, created and posted by Toajaton. Jaton? Not 100% sure how to pronounce it, obviously, but we'll figure that part out later. Let's get to the builds. Now, we've all pretty much seen or built a bunch of different iterations of the original 6 Toa, and one thing I think we can all agree on is that it is quite a challenge to try and revamp them using CCBS, and that's the main thing that caught my eye about these MOCs right here. This Lewa and this Pohatu look really simple, but they work so well. And there's a really nice and clean style to them. They almost look cartoonish, but in a good way, as if they would be in like Young Justice BIONICLE edition. The proportions are a bit exaggerated in some areas, and it makes for a very animated presence. This Lewa looks like he's ready to hop around some trees and stuff, swing across vines, meet a whole family of lemurs, challenge them to a whole vine swinging race, and then beat them, and then maybe fight them after. Yeah, Lewa fighting lemurs, that's exactly the impression I get from this MOC. He looks really agile, he's well articulated, he's got these big forearms which are kind of reminiscent of the original Lewa's giant claw hand. I don't know, those parts of the Toa designs always really confused me. Why is it that only he, Tahu, and Pohatu have these like weird hand things? You know, that always bothered me. Half the Toa have these giant claws or whatever, and then okay, more than half if you count Onua. I don't know, the Toa are kind of weird, but that's another plus to these designs, is that I can actually make some sense out of them. This Lewa actually does kind of have those giant claws too, except they're more like large black fingers. Like, he even has thumbs. He can actually hold his axe properly, if he had one. And that's the only downside I guess I can mention about this MOC, is that we don't get to see Lewa with his trademark axe. Not a revamp of the axe, not even the original axe, which I feel is a bit of a missed opportunity because I do like this design so much. I would like to see what the axe would look like in this style. As for Pohatu, he's also quite well designed, and he actually does come with some sort of tool, aside from his trademark enlarged feet, that being a hammer, which is a welcome addition. I do think a custom stylized hammer would be better for this Pohatu, but I appreciate that it was added here at all. And if anything, the only other thing I can criticize about this Pohatu are his upper arms or his bicep areas, which look very lanky, which I suppose does work with the style, but personally it would look better if they had the tire pieces attached to them, just like the arms on the Lewa model. And one last thing to note that I like about these MOCs is the color application. I really dig that about Lewa, especially how his upper arms and his upper legs are all black. It adds a lot of contrast to the rest of the model, though I will say maybe there is a little bit too much black in the upper legs, to a point where it almost looks like Lewa's wearing a pair of black shorts, rather than it actually looking like a part of his body. But Pohatu's coloration looks just fine. I actually really like the use of the Vorok's armor pieces with the dark brown kind of blending in with the tan. On the legs, it makes for a really awesome looking transition into the feet. And that's the kind of thing I wish I saw on the Lewa model as well, but I understand these kind of parts don't really exist when it comes to green and lime green, so, you know, there's limitations. But overall, the models are nice, and I really like them, and I would absolutely love to see the other Toa recreated in this style. It actually kind of makes me want to try my own take on simple Toa redesigns using CCBS, because what Blackboltjohnson shows here is that when you do it right, the results are very satisfying to look at. Now on to the next model, Turaga Takanuva by Toajaton. We're gonna say Jaton for now, just because it sounds funny. This is a very unique take on a Turaga build. We don't really see too many of those when it comes to Bionicle builds, and what we have here seems to draw a lot of inspiration from the Turaga designs from the older Bionicle movies. You know, similar proportions, the robe and the aesthetic, and I gotta say, this looks really well done. I really enjoy the incredibly lanky arms and legs. It's pulled off really well. It's also nice to see big articulated hands on the ends of them. I feel like we have a theme going on today with all these exaggerated proportions. But again, it's not a bad thing at all. It makes it look very cartoony and stylistic, and those kind of MOCs are honestly some of my favorites because it makes them so unique. And two things about this MOC that I really do like are, one, the use of the glittery, transparent M.O.C Personally, I love that mask. It's been one of my favorite masks to own since I was a kid. And because it's so unique and outlandish for a Lego piece, understandably, it's a bit difficult to incorporate it into a good MOC. But it works here, and I think it's very fitting for this kind of MOC. I mean, especially since the character is the guy that is supposed to wear this mask. And I also appreciate this custom paper robe that Toajaton made for this MOC. There's this cute gold trim around it, and the cut is really clean. It's actually pretty impressive. Then on the back of it, we have the symbol of the 3 virtues drawn in gold. It's not a perfect drawing, but I knew immediately what it was supposed to be, so it does the job. And one last thing to mention is the design of the staff, which appears to be a custom miniaturized version of the Staff of Light. Very cool. I do wish that the blades were a bit thicker, but it still works nonetheless. There are also 2 things that I feel like I should mention just because they look a little off to me. One is the proportions of the shoulders. They stick out a little bit too far away from each other to a point where it doesn't feel as natural as the rest of the, well, exaggerated proportions of this MOC. And then in the chest portion, you can see this red trim. I'm not sure what's going on here. It doesn't really look bad. I actually kind of like it. I just think if you were to incorporate this type of thing into the model, you would want to incorporate a little more of it into other parts of the body to kind of balance it out, because otherwise it just looks like Takanuva has these evil red eyes just staring out of his chest for some reason. It's not a bad decision, it just needs to be complemented more. Maybe put some red on the robe. I feel like that could work. At the end of the day, we have 3 incredibly stylistic and well-built models based on characters that we've come to love over the years. I personally think those characters have been done some good justice here. Now the rest is up to you guys. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments below or on the message boards at board.ttvchannel.com. Remember, be polite when critiquing others' MOCs and always support each other. Make it a clear-cut point. Nobody completely sucks at building and nobody's completely perfect at building. There's a lot we can learn from each other, and we're all good at one thing above all else: the ability to build something better than the last thing. That's my attempt at saying something inspirational to you guys today. So anyway, great job to you, BlackboltJohnson and Toajaton. Thank you guys so much for sharing your MOCs onto the message boards. Congrats for making it onto the MOC Spotlight. I do look forward to seeing more of these stylistic MOCs coming from the both of you. I thank you all for watching, and for those of you wondering, I'm going to try pushing for a bi-weekly release schedule for the series going forward, so see you then, goodbye, farewell, that's it.